this show to have things said that we know for a fact are not true. Without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Get ready for the most jaw-dropping showdown that just rocked daytime TV. Whoopi Goldberg thought she had the ultimate gotcha moment, but oh boy, did that backfire. Let's dive into how Karoline Leavitt, the 27-year-old press secretary, left The View's Queen Bee absolutely speechless. Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job. Those were Whoopi's words right before everything went sideways. Stick around, because what happened next had even Joy Behar squirming in her seat. Today, we're breaking down the explosive moment when Karoline Leavitt, Trump's new press secretary, went head-to-head with Whoopi Goldberg over the most controversial topic in America right now, wokeness. And trust me, this isn't your typical View drama. This is a masterclass in standing your ground. The View's studio, usually a fortress of unchallenged opinions, became ground zero when Whoopi Goldberg tried to school the youngest White House press secretary ever about wokeness. She had no idea what was coming. But before we witness this epic takedown, let's set the stage for what might be The View's most dramatic episode yet. Picture this, The View's studio packed with their usual crowd doing what they do best, nodding along to whatever narrative they're being fed that day. You know the scene. The smug laughter, the synchronized eye rolls, the panel's perfectly choreographed reactions. But today was different. Today they were about to meet their match in Karoline Leavitt, and they had no idea what was coming. Here's what makes this so interesting. At just 27, Karoline isn't your typical political talking head. We're talking about someone who ran for Congress at 25, worked in Trump's White House while heavily pregnant, and became the youngest press secretary in American history. Even more impressive, she did it all without a teleprompter or the usual stack of binders most press secretaries hide behind. This isn't someone who got her job because of wokeness. She earned it the old-fashioned way, through pure talent and hard work.
This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration.
Fresh from announcing a pause on federal DEI programs that had been funneling millions into what the White House called questionable projects, Karoline walked into The View's studio like she owned it. The tension? You could cut it with a knife. The show's producers probably thought they were getting another easy target for their usual takedown routine. After all, that's their specialty, bringing on conservatives, talking over them, and then basking in the audience's practiced applause. But the moment Karoline took her seat, something felt different. The energy shifted. Even Joy Behar, who's built an entire career on mocking conservatives, seemed to sense it. They weren't dealing with their usual guest. They were facing someone who came prepared to fight fire with facts. Think that's intense? Wait until you hear what Joy Behar said that made even her co-hosts cringe.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
These supposed champions of women's empowerment, reducing a Harvard graduate to her looks. And they say conservatives are the ones stuck in the 1950s. But hold on to your seats, because Whoopi was about to turn this spark into a wildfire.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off.
The patronizing tone, the condescending smirk. Whoopi thought she had her gotcha moment. But oh boy, was she in for a surprise. That's when Whoopi Goldberg, the self-appointed queen of daytime TV, decided to go all in. With that signature smirk we've seen 1,000 times before, she launched into what she thought would be her defining moment.
And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about that.
Talk about missing the mark. Here's what makes this moment so incredible. Whoopi wasn't just trying to lecture Karoline. She was attempting to completely erase her achievements. This is someone who worked in Trump's White House, ran a congressional campaign, and earned her position through merit and hard work. But according to Whoopi's worldview, none of that mattered. In her mind, Karoline should be grateful for the very ideology she was fighting against. The audacity of the moment was breathtaking. You could see it in the faces of everyone in that studio. This wasn't just another View takedown. This was Whoopi Goldberg, who spent years ruling this show like her personal kingdom, shutting down guests and steamrolling over opposing voices, suddenly facing someone who wasn't going to play by her rules. The tension in the room reached fever pitch as Whoopi leaned forward, clearly expecting Karoline to back down like so many guests before her. But that's when something extraordinary happened. Something that would completely flip the script on The View's usual power dynamic.
Filter.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time.
And if you thought that exchange was intense, wait until you see how Caroline dismantled decades of liberal talking points in just under 2 minutes. Instead of backing down, Caroline came out swinging with facts that hit harder than a heavyweight champion. Strong borders, national security, economic prosperity, basic stuff that suddenly became controversial in our woke wonderland.
Disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
Now, if you're impressed by Caroline's defense of America First policies, just wait until you hear her take down the entire woke establishment piece by piece. When Caroline started exposing how taxpayer dollars were funding gender studies in Guatemala while American schools crumble, you could hear jaws dropping across America.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media.
But The View's hosts weren't about to let this takedown continue without trying to shut it down completely. What happened next shows exactly why mainstream media is losing its grip on America. Classic liberal view playbook. When you can't win the argument, shut it down. But Caroline? She wasn't about to let them get away with it. And then came the moment that had social media exploding and left millions of Americans cheering in their living rooms. A 27-year-old had just schooled their daytime TV queen, and the footage was spreading faster than a California wildfire. But beyond the viral clips and social media frenzy, this showdown revealed something far more significant about the state of American media.
Attacking a woman for her looks or age isn't very progressive. It was so condescending. The way that she was scolding her as if she was a schoolgirl, suggesting she needed to do her homework. I find it so hypocritical when these so-called, caring, progressive voices just turn so nasty like that.
The irony was delicious. Self-proclaimed progressives attacking a young woman for her age and appearance. So much for that feminist solidarity, right? And just when you thought this story couldn't get any more explosive, wait until you hear the final nail in the coffin. The View's ratings? Let's just say they might want to rethink their strategy. Turns out, Americans are pretty tired of being lectured about wokeness by hosts who can't handle a little pushback. One final thought from Karoline Leavitt about the women of The View.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
Don't hold back, Caroline. Tell us how you really feel. And the biggest news comes from the producers of The View because Whoopi got booted from The View. That puts Joy Behar back on top as queen. So what do you think? Are you Team Caroline or Team Whoopi? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We've got more explosive moments coming your way. Be sure to watch the next video. You're gonna love it.